1. Back in the late 1990s, when I thought I was done with university, I was applying for all sorts of jobs. One of them was in a call center. Now, I wasn't very experienced with phones at this point, a bit shy and didn't like ringing people, but I was fine if people were ringing me. So the job I applied for was specifically an inbound call center. This particular call center had contacts with multiple businesses, but wanted someone that was studying marketing for a particular client, so I applied. The interview was a group interview and lasted the entire morning. Those that they were interested in were asked to stick around after lunch for some practical experience. I was one of the ones that stuck around, so after lunch, they placed us all individually in these inhumane cubicles. Sometimes I don't understand how you call center workers can stand working in such small confined spaces all day. So anyway, I got placed in my cubicle, and we were told what our activity was going to be. For the next hour, we would be cold calling people, asking them if they would like to do a survey for a medical-related non-profit organization. Let's call it Australian Red Knots. We were given the survey questions we were to ask. We had a worksheet in front of us, where we had to write down the phone number and the answers to the survey questions. We were also given a list of phone numbers for us to call, and the supervisors would be listening in to see how we were doing. Now, the first problem we all had is that none of us had ever worked in a call center before. With the exception of one or two, we were all in our late teens, early 20s, so we were given a very brief rundown on how we were supposed to talk on the phone. Not to get angry with the person on the other end of the call, and a couple of cheat sheets on what to say if a person answered a particular question a particular way. If we get stuck, we were to put our hand up and a supervisor would come over. Seems pretty straightforward. Now, maybe they were testing me or something, but I got possibly the worst batch of numbers and the worst cubicle. For starters, while everyone else got a handset, my cubicle was without one. The supervisors had to go running around finding one, and when they couldn't, I had to be given a headset. So there goes an extra couple of minutes showing me how to use the headset. Then that headset didn't work properly, so they had to get me another headset. First call, no answer. My second call, no answer. I got to about the 8th number before there was an answer, a bloody answering machine. We were not given instruction on what to do if we got an answering machine. Another 4 no answers. Then I got someone who answered. They politely said I'm not interested in buying anything and promptly hung up. 2 more no answers. And then did a call that was answered by a 5-year-old kid. Again, no instruction on what the hell to do in this situation. Supervisor came over and said to just hang up. 3 or 4 more calls that went unanswered. And then my time was up. Total surveys done, 0. Feedback 2 weeks later when I'm told I didn't get the job. I didn't get enough people to answer the survey to gauge my ability. When I said that only 2 people actually answered the phone, they told me that everyone else had at least 10. So why didn't I have that many? Looking back, I'm glad I didn't get the job. 2. I work as a customer service representative for an international online travel agency. As you can expect, I deal with a lot of issues pertaining to COVID-19, so at this point, I get yelled at on a daily basis for things I can't do, because I don't have the authority to approve a lot of things, contrary to popular belief, and people can't seem to understand that at all. We have very strict procedures and everything is closely monitored, so I'm very aware of the limits I have. But somehow, whenever people call our customer service, they think they're going to reach our CEO directly? I would like to think I am immune to it at this point, but often it gets too much and really aggravating really quick. So today has been really slow, but I've been getting cases from difficult as hell customers all week, so I was expecting no less from today, and of course, ask and ye shall receive. I get a call from this Australian lady. She made a pay-to-the-hotel reservation at some hotel in Australia for this week. In most of our forms, we will need customers to key in their credit card details. Mostly it's just to avoid fraud cases and the like, because there have been a lot, even with credit card inserted still. So this lady has her credit card inserted into this pay-to-hotel booking. One thing I should note is that for these types of reservations, we are not the ones charging them. We collect their details, yes, but in our system we have no way to charge the card directly. We see the last 4 digits on the card, but that's it. Nothing we can do aside from cancel. The hotels are the ones who have the ability to perform the charges because it's pay to the hotel. If the hotel approves a refund for these types, the refund comes directly from the hotel's account, not us. And the hotel will not charge at any given point for confirmation, most likely because it goes within the cancellation policy. And so we always get confused customers when the hotel tries to charge the card before the check-in date, because they assume it's paying upon check-in rather than paid to the hotel. I have never personally used this type of reservation, so I don't know what it looks like on the customer's front end. But if we have so much confusion for the same thing, obviously we have to do something about it, and I won't deny that even for 1 second. So this lady had her credit card stolen, and we weren't informed about it at all, and had no clue up until this point. She probably didn't think it was our problem because she assumed her reservation can be paid at the hotel. So she called in asking why her booking was cancelled. I found out that our supplier cancelled it yesterday because her credit card was declined when the hotel tried to charge her before check-in. And she didn't respond to our emails from 2 days ago, asking her to provide a new one within a day or so, to avoid her reservation from being cancelled. So it was cancelled automatically because we sent her notice and she didn't respond at all.
Why did you guys cancel without my permission?
We have actually sent an email 2 days ago informing you that your card has been declined and it will be cancelled if we didn't receive your new details.
Yes, I saw that email, but I didn't have reception, so I wasn't able to open or reply to it until yesterday, when I actually received it.
I'm sorry, ma'am, since this reservation has been cancelled and no payment has been collected, we can't uncancel this booking or search for an alternative accommodation for you, as you have not been charged for this.
I don't care, this is not my problem. I didn't receive reception, how was I able to access it?
I understand, but your reservation has been cancelled and we can't assist you since there is no charge to this reservation.
No, you don't understand. I want to talk to your supervisor.
Unfortunately, I can't do that as we're not allowed to transfer our calls to our supervisors. Even if I did, they would advise you the exact same thing I just said.
I don't care. I don't want to speak to you anymore.
So I consulted with one of my supervisors, and guess what? He said exactly the same thing I did. I told him that I've already pushed a request back multiple times. I don't know why we're not allowed to transfer to our supervisors, but I assume it's to avoid frequent requests like that. He agreed he would take over the case if she kept insisting. He told me to mention the whole "we sent an email, no response from you, it was cancelled, no payment was received, we can't do anything about it now." I tried.
I don't care what you have to say. Transfer me to your supervisor, even if he says the same thing as you just did. I want to speak to a supervisor.
So I transferred. Checked back on the case 2 hours later, lo and behold, my supervisor also couldn't offer any solutions to her, since no payment was received. It would have been different if she was actually charged for it, or if she was really not notified at all. We would have offered relocation or some type of compensation for her. We aren't heartless. He even mentions in his notes that he said the same thing I did, and suddenly she's okay with it. I don't get that. You couldn't accept our procedure when it came from a normal agent, but the moment you spoke to a supervisor you're all for it? You just wasted everyone's time. I understand that if she genuinely had no reception and suddenly found her booking was cancelled, I would probably be pissed too. But I'd be way more pissed if it got cancelled and I was still charged, which didn't happen here. I'm just annoyed she had to speak to a supervisor to get off our backs. What's the point? 3. I work for a car rental company as a specialist. Basically, when a customer demands a supervisor, I take the call. I received this call back in July. The customer's husband was trying to make her a reservation, but despite the fact that the credit card was charged, they never received a confirmation number. The customer called and was informed by the agent that the system never processed a valid reservation, and the charge should be automatically reversed in a few days. Understandably, she requested a supervisor.
We were going to travel and my husband was doing the reservation for me. My credit card got charged, but I never received any confirmation. So I called this morning and they told me it would take like 4 days to get my money back. I already spoke with 4 agents, and no one can help me with this. Is there something you can do?
I apologize for that. Let me see what's going on. I see the unsuccessful attempts to create the reservation. I noticed your husband tried to pay with a credit card that ends with 1234.
Yes.
By any chance is the billing address 12345?
No, that's not the right address.
Technical part starts here. Basically, when a customer tries to prepay in advance, there's one field that requests a billing address. If you write the wrong billing zip code, the system won't allow you to continue. With that being said, there's a 50-50 that those funds are placed on hold. In the past, this type of call was a big headache for me because I had to find the reservation, document it, submit my documentation to another department, and tell the customer that it could take up to 72 hours for the funds to be reversed. Not anymore, though. Earlier this year, I was granted the ability to reverse the charges like that immediately. Most of the time, it'll only take a few minutes for you to see the funds available in your account, although I'll admit the system is not perfect. There's been some scenarios where the customer still needs to wait until midnight. I explained to the customer why the system never processed a valid reservation. Reassure her that I'll help her with this, find the charges and reverse them. Thank you for patiently waiting. I have successfully reversed those charges.
Thank you. Can you help me make the reservation?
Sure, whatever. I reconfirmed the location, the dates, and luckily for her, the rate is still the same. 210 USD.
Is there something you can do to accommodate me for this inconvenience?
I do apologize, ma'am, but this is the best rate I have for this type of vehicle.
There should be something you can do for me. This wasn't my fault. It was your company's fault.
I checked for additional discounts, promotions, maybe a coupon, but I won't be able to drop the rate. The customer tries to gain sympathy by constantly reminding me that this is not her fault. Blaming our company for this situation, which I had fixed, I'm placing herself in some interesting scenarios.
But what if you were unable to reverse my funds? What if it was the middle of the night, and I was at the airport completely alone without any funds? What would I do?
The customer was calling on July 8th. The reservation was supposed to be picked up 2 days later in the afternoon. Amazing what some customers will do and say to save some money. I'm truly sorry, ma'am, but this is the best I can offer.
You're a supervisor. You should be able to do more. This wasn't my fault. It was your company's fault.
At this point, I'm tired of the customer demanding compensation for this and reminding me that it's our company's fault. Ma'am, those attempts to make the reservation were made by your husband, not us.
Are you saying this is my fault?
I'm not pointing any fingers, but we're not the ones who got the address wrong. Cue awkward silence.
Do you have a supervisor on Reekstone, cousin? I would love to speak with them.
He doesn't take any calls, sorry.
Well, thank you for being so useful, Reekstone, cousin.
She hangs up. Of course, she was being sarcastic, but I didn't give a damn. She spoke with 4 different agents, and while they were unable to assist her, I fixed this issue immediately, so yeah, fuck her. Less than an hour after that call, the customer called again. She provided an additional discount and got the reservation for 208 USD, $2 cheaper. Hope she enjoyed her compensation. 4. I work hotel reservations and customer service for a fairly big company. I have access to a lot of tools you might not assume I need, but that are essential for my job. It was like 8 p.m. The day was fairly slow, so I was not in a hurry, and it's always fun to do some detective work. A call came in, and the system threw an account and a case at me right away. As I gave my greetings, I read all the information I had in front of me, and asked for the full story just in case I was missing some info. The guy on the phone told me he had 2 reservations for Hotel X. According to him, Reservation 1 was for Monday with a normal rate, and Reservation 2 was for Monday and Tuesday with a discounted rate. He told me the rates were flipped by the hotel, and he somehow got charged twice for the 1-day reservation. He also mentions the case I have in front of me and tells me he was looking for an update. Now, the case was opened like 2 weeks ago and closed like 5 days later. No one ever contacted him, and no refund had been issued at all. First clue something was off. Second clue something was off was that he actually had 3 rooms at the hotel and 1 was cancelled. Did he mention the 3rd room? Not at all. So I ask about said 3rd room and he tries to dismiss it. Oh, I had another room for the 2 days and I cancelled it, but it turned out my kids didn't want to go to the hotel after all, so I booked it again later. I cancelled that room several days before arrival, so don't worry about that one. And at this point I knew he was saying nothing but lies. Room number 3 was not only booked the same day as number 2, but at the exact same time. I did not even have to look at the reservation history because the reservation numbers were consecutive, and that only happens when you book more than one room at once. So I started digging. Less than 5 minutes later, I had in front of me the full history of all 3 rooms. All the account information I needed and even the receipts for those reservations. This is what I found. Room number 1 was booked under the discounted rate from the start. Room history showed no changes to the reservation at all. Not made by us, not made by the hotel, not made by the person I was talking to. Room number 2 was booked under the normal rate from the start. Again, room history showed no changes at all. Apparently, he booked the wrong rates for these reservations and realized way too late. He knew he could not fix it, so he decided to pretend the hotel screwed things up so he could save a couple of bucks. Oh, and the extra charge? Room number 3 was not only booked at the same time as number 2, but after looking at its history I could see it was cancelled the same day of check-in. Like 11 p.m., that is, in case you are wondering, almost 24 hours after the cancellation policy expires. This extra charge, and the receipt corroborated this, was a late cancellation fee of 1 night plus taxes, not a mistake. So here I am thinking something along the lines of holy crap, as I go back to the dude, who I put on hold to look all that up, and told him as nicely as I could that I knew he was making all of this up, and that he would get no refunds. Now he could have let this go and I would have done nothing. I would have just ended the call and moved on to the next person online because I don't get paid enough to care after the call ends. But he decided to be an asshole. He called me stupid and a liar. He insisted all he told me was the truth and he demanded a refund. I again told him I would not be giving him anything. All the money he wanted was way over what I'm allowed to give anyway. He yelled some more and said the magic words. "I want to speak to a supervisor," he demanded. "Sure thing," I said. I could have said no. I could have said something like, "They have the same information I do, sir. They will tell you the same thing I just did," and just ended the call. But you see, whenever I transfer anyone to a supervisor, I am required to make a note on the caller's account, both for whatever supervisor gets the call to have something in writing about the issue they're about to be involved in. Besides me verbally explaining everything too, of course, and for anyone else who receives the call from that particular person to know how to deal with them. These notes, I might add, are permanent. So this dude will not only be shut down by a supervisor, he will also have documented in his account that he tried to lie to us more than once and get a substantial amount of money out of it. And he was a top-tier member of this hotel company's loyalty program. So he might actually have some pretty serious consequences coming his way. So I've been doing tech support at a large corp for about a year. This is an internal line, front desk triage. I don't know how to do my job helpline. Many of the things my users call for help on are self-service solutions at large corp domain sites. Most of these issues are solved by telling the user to navigate to service.largecorp.com, and I walk them through some next buttons and a form. Here's today's tale. Thank you for calling Large Corp Desk. This is Sanitarium. How can I help you? I need to get into Service 1. It's not working on my device. Not a problem. Have you gone to service1.largecorp.com yet? No, I'm on my device. On your desktop, could you open IE for me? Minimal fuss here. They seem to know how to open Internet Explorer, and unlike some, they find the URL bar without first playing Bing Bingo. Okay, now please type service1.largecorp.com in and hit enter. Okay, service1@largecorp.com. Oh, hold on. It's .largecorp.com. Oh, okay. .@largecorp.com. No, it's just .largecorp.com? So where do I put the at? There aren't any ats at all, it's just service1 period largecorp period com. We arrive eventually, and it turns out the caller did not even have service 1, so I was forced to take them to the service2.largecorp.com site to request it. Luckily, by this time, the caller's need for the @ in URLs had subsided greatly. Seemingly, the response at largecorp.com is not uncommon, though this is the first time I've gotten .at. None of the services have names that sound like @ but I'd say a good third of users hear it as such. It's a phenomena experienced by my coworkers daily as well. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Please Hold number 7. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use and sent in stories for use in this video. If you yourself have a story you'd like to send in, be it for this type of video or something else, then please do send it along to kingofthecities@gmail.com. That's kingofthecities@gmail.com. You know, I never thought before, but I suppose it's understandable. Perhaps some older people would get mixed up between emails and web addresses. And I think that's what was happening in the final story there, and that customers seemed to think that a website and an email was pretty much the same kind of thing. Well, live and learn, I suppose. And with that, I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.